I was all paranoid that he was stepping all over our Christmas presents.
Kind of scary. A Bountiful family gets a surprise Christmas visit from this deer. Came crashing through the bedroom window. They were hoping for Santa and his reindeer, but instead got a 5-foot buck inside the house.
Yeah, it happened late Christmas Eve, and the family caught home video of the deer trampling over a pile of presents. Mike Anderson spoke with the family today. Mike, how did he end up in the house?
Yeah, Jen and Keith, they think the buck tripped in a basement window well and just couldn't get himself back out again. They say he struggled in there for a while, trampling over some furniture and running into a doorway. And the room he ended up in was the one place where the family was keeping most of the Christmas gifts.
Come here, go. That's in our bedroom on Christmas Eve.
A big buck decided to crash the Kellers holiday night.
I just heard crashing. I heard the window go.
Maria Keller was putting the kids to bed when the deer apparently tripped and fell into a basement window well.
Looked through the big window behind the Christmas tree and couldn't see anything. And then all of a sudden I heard hooves and antlers.
And that's where his nose hit. And then you can see where his antlers hit up on the ceiling.
Casey Keller says at first they thought the buck was just trapped. They didn't know he was inside.
My husband came in and ran downstairs and opened the door and then shut it really fast and started screaming.
It's in the room! It's in the room! It's a buck.
Several family members also went outside to look through the broken window.
Dang, it's huge.
For about 2 hours, family members took their turns peeking through the door and taking pictures as they waited for wildlife officers to get the deer out. Casey says at one point the buck looked at the camera and then turned around towards the desk.
But I realized that he's actually looking at this picture, which is probably a little more scary.
They're all laughing that there's a deer in the house, and I'm freaking out. I had all of Christmas down in that bedroom, all organized, all prepared.
They did end up with a few crushed boxes, but luckily the presents inside were just fine. As far as these kids were concerned, Christmas was a success.
I think my husband and I went to bed at 5 a.m. and kids woke up 2 hours later, ready for Christmas. I was afraid I was going to go into labor today, but it's all good.
At least they'll have something to talk about for years to come. And officers with the Division of Wildlife Resources eventually came to help. Unfortunately, they had to put the deer down to get him out. Coincidentally, though, Casey tells us that later that night he was driving down the street from his house when another deer jumped in front of him. Luckily, he was able to brake and swerve, just barely bumping that one. Back to you guys.